And action.
1985 was peak MTV. Big hair, bigger synthesizers, music videos that played so often on MTV you wanted to kill yourself. That was 1985. But while MTV was making the rounds in everybody's living rooms, college radio was inventing alternative rock. Welcome to The Art of the Playlist, a music podcast that brings you curated playlists and the stories that motivated him. I'm Robert LaFrance. I'm here with my two amigos, Christian and Patty. What's up, guys?
Hola, Rob.
Hello, Robert LaFrance.
How are you?
Hi, Christian.
Hello, Patty. This is going to be a fun episode, a blast from the past, right?
Mhm.
1985.
Oh my gosh.
I got some unpopular opinion stuff about 1985 because I agree with all the stuff you said, Rob, but I also think it was kind of a flat year for music because everything was synthesizers and drum machines and keytars over guitars. And a lot of it was after some movements. So, like, Prince had come out with Purple Rain in 1984, and in 1985 he had kind of his next less great album, which was Around the World in a Day or something like that. And it was after rock kind of took a back seat to MTV, and so the rock stuff was all a little quiet and a little lame. They were trying to figure out how to come back from post-disco and all that. It was after punk and post-punk. So I was listening to stuff called new music, which eventually became new wave, which new wave wasn't as cool as new music, and we weren't yet into alternative. So there was kind of this, it was like a purgatory year for music. Not my favorite.
Yeah, too much spandex for sure.
A lot of spandex, a lot of hair. Yeah, it was a weird time for sure. And I think about like even the change from rock. I mean, it was Van Halen, right? You think Van Halen was huge. 1984 had come out, and David Lee Roth bouncing around in his spandex.
Yeah.
Wasn't a great
Fashion.
look.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
But there were some good songs.
Yeah, no, there was stuff we loved, and I found when I was going through my list trying to make a playlist for 1985 that I found that there was a lot of crap, but there was also a lot of stuff that I loved that I didn't really even realize came out in 1985. So I'll talk about a lot of that, but I found actually more songs that I loved and were overplayed than stuff I hated. There wasn't a lot of stuff I actually hated in 1985.
There was some.
I hated a lot of it. I mean, like you were talking about the MTV stuff, all radio, it all, except if you were listening to college radio, which I know I was, and you were. I don't know where Chris was at that point in his life, but everything, it was kind of monochromatic, even though the fashion was very bright and bold colors and spandex and preppy handbook and all this stuff. It all kind of sounded the same. And even stuff on my playlist that I put together, some of it could all sound like one song.
I agree with you.
That's on more of the pop side. The alternative
Yes.
and new wave stuff is a little different. So
Yeah. It was an interesting time. And there's some weird songs too. Like I was going through my list. I'm like, that's a really weird song. And I don't know why I like it so much. I'm disappointed in myself.
we were pretty young.
Yeah, we were young. I give myself a break. I'm like, dude, give yourself a break. You were what? 14 years old. I don't know. Something like that. So yeah.
Young and stupid. Now we're just old and stupid. I mean,
exactly.
It hasn't changed much. Patty, you want to talk about your playlist?
Yeah. So our theme today is love, hate, and overplayed. So I'll talk about some of the stuff I love. Are we all going to do love first, or are we going to do our lists first?
How do your list?
Okay. So in 1985, it was sort of an in-between year for me, even in my life. I had broken up with my summer boyfriend in the fall of '84, and I was sort of on my own. I was working and going to school. And I was just old enough to sneak in on the older girls' IDs to the dance clubs. So I was dance clubbing it. And there was a lot of stuff I didn't really care for, but I did love Prince. And because Prince had such a huge hit with Purple Rain, the movie Purple Rain and the album Purple Rain, when he came out with Around the World in a Day, he had collected kind of this cadre of musicians around him, mostly women. I'll make that point.
Very attractive women.
Yeah, and for a little short guy from Detroit who wore platform shoes, it was kind of fascinating. But he was a prodigy in that he could play I think on his first album, he played every instrument on his first album. He was very talented. He was very plugged into that artistic zeitgeist thing. And coming out of Detroit, he was one of the people that helped develop the Detroit sound in pop music.
Right.
So I have a big list half a dozen songs on my list that were influenced by him. Raspberry Beret was Prince. Oh Sheila,
Oh, yeah.
Ready for the World, Lover Girl, Tina Marie, Love Bazaar, Sheila E., Lisa and Cult Jam,
Lovely Lisa.
Sheena Easton. So that kind of crew was playing all Prince-esque stuff, and he participated in either the production or his production company did it, or he's in the background doing vocals, or he's playing guitar. Like, he influenced a lot of the dance scene at that time. So that part of it I enjoyed.
I
Um,
love Prince. So
yes.
he's a great artist, and he wrote all that music himself.
Yeah.
Like, by himself. He's an amazing musician. He's a fantastic writer and just completely prolific. So he wrote like half of the music we heard in the 80s. Prince wrote. It was
Yes.
crazy. So yeah, that's a good pick. And I didn't put him on my list because I veered into towards the like college rock stuff. So I'm glad you're covering Prince, because we'd be remiss if we didn't cover Prince in 1985.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he could be in 84 or 85, depending on how you looked at it. But I think he had a bigger influence on the scene in 85, for sure. Um, I had a couple of slower things that came out of that time. They kind of called it the second British invasion, in that there were a lot of people from Europe that were influencing that scene of new music and new wave. And I also got into the college radio scene. So I used to go to the soccer teams um keg parties, and they were playing stuff like Fishbone, early REM, what's that other band that they would play all the time? I don't know. I can't think of them because I didn't put them on my list because I couldn't find a good song from 85. But they were playing stuff like that, In Excess.
Uh-huh.
So I started listening to stuff like that. And then as I was working retail and working with other people and sort of in that Prince college. Oh, I started hanging out at the college radio station at University of New Haven, WNHU, which is still an influential college radio station now. And I started listening to stuff like The Alarm, The Cult, The
Oh, yeah.
Church, The Cure. So that scene, that's the stuff I think that Rob's referring to. So I have a bunch of that on my playlist as well. I'm going to look up who I was thinking about afterwards. So those are all stuff I love. And in the section of my playlist in stuff that I love, I have a bonus track, but I'll get to that at the end. Um, Unpopular opinion stuff is the stuff I hate. For me, the nomination for the absolute worst song of 1985 is by two artists that I really, really respect and like their work. But this was I think it was just an opportunity to capitalize on MTV. David Bowie and Mick Jagger recorded Dancin' in the Streets, the old song for
That was
Martha and
the
the
worst.
Vandellas. What a terrible song. The
The
video
video.
is terrible. It's just something that, like, I don't know. I wish we
Oh.
could I wish we could just list these songs, but put like an X next to them on our playlist, because it's just not good.
I gotta believe even those guys afterwards were like, "Oh, this is just terrible." Yeah, but they got paid. Yes. Yes.
Somebody decided that. And
Yeah.
hopefully Martha and the Vandellas got some money out of it too. Who knows? But yeah, that was really sad. Um here's an unpopular one that Christian's not gonna like me for, but Money for Nothing, Dire Straits.
Oh, yeah, they played the
I
hell out of that song,
it
but
was,
it's a great album, but that song yeah, I agree.
yeah, I just don't like it. I understand that it's iconic because Sting is at the beginning saying, "I want my MTV," and it was MTV time. I think they're very talented as a band,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think that song is just not a representative track that I would go to.
It's uber commercial, right, for
Right.
them, and I would say the hook too was it was a the video was sort of I don't know, it was kind of iconic at the time, on
Mhm.
MTV. It was very different, but
Yes.
looking back, I'm like, "Oh," you know? But again,
It
still a
was that
great album.
early
The B-side
animation.
is amazing. The
Oh, is it?
B-side's the best. Oh,
Oh,
it's
okay.
yes.
Well, I'll
What's on
be
the B
open
side?
to that.
Uh, Brothers in Arms, that's the name of the album, and that is, one of the best songs ever, in my opinion. So,
Uh-huh.
anyway, go ahead, Patty.
No,
So
can I just say one thing
yeah.
about that? So I have that on my list, but I didn't have it on hate. I have it on overplayed because it was just you couldn't turn on
That's it.
MTV without hearing that, and that early animation that they had at the beginning was it reminded me of like Max Headroom. Like it was just
Yeah,
they were barely just able to model a human being in animation back then. So
right.
I kind of liked it. I got to be honest, but so I didn't put it on my hated list. I just put it on my overplayed list because it was crazy. Like you couldn't get away from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Um, the last one on my hate list is The Wild Boys by Duran Duran.
Yeah.
My boyfriend that I broke up with in the fall was a huge Duran Duran fan, and after he broke up with me, he hand wrote on a piece of notebook paper these lyrics by Duran Duran that were like trying to be biting and evil to me, and he left it in my parents' mailbox. And so
I can just picture your dad getting that. What?
well, there's a great like kind of side story to this story, and that is that we only had one phone in the house. This was before cell phones, and upstairs where my brothers and I had our bedrooms, we had a line, a landline, of our family phone. And I announced to the family that I had broken up with this guy. And so he would call me at home, and my brother Dan, who was 14 at the time, maybe 15, he would pick up the phone, and if it was that guy, he would say, "She broke up with you," and hang up the phone and never tell me.
Go,
So for a long time,
go,
I
Danny.
so maybe he inspired this notebook rant that was sent to me. I
Okay.
don't know, but
That's great.
he had my back, and I respect it.
Yeah,
He never handed me the phone. He never got me to talk to the guy, and it ended just like that. So
that's
that
great.
was quite funny. So that's Duran Duran. And just very quickly, my overplayed stuff. Can't Fight This Feeling, REO Speedwagon.
Oh, yeah.
We Are the World, USA for Africa, which I understand was an important song from a social, political perspective, but too much. And a band I like, but a song that was overplayed. Take on Me, Aha. Too much.
Yeah,
Even
that's
now, even now.
It was in heavy rotation for sure.
Mhm.
But it too was, it was a different song and the video was huge, right? And you know,
Yes.
but I
My
get
bo
it. It was certainly overplayed.
my bonus track, and also one other thing I wanna mention, my bonus track is at the end of my love list, is the song titled 1985 by the current, I guess you would call them alt-rock band, Bowling for Soup. They're like a Weezer vibe
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
band,
yeah.
and they do
So
a whole like lyric about this woman who's a mom and is considered the uncool mom because she's stuck in 1985. And he mentions a lot of the artists, Prince, Madonna, these people, and it's a really cute, campy ode to 1985 and the music of that day and the fashion and all that stuff. So one other thing I want to mention, it's not on my playlist because I really don't love it as a song, but Steven Van Zandt got a bunch of artists together to do the song Sun City.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's right.
that was a song. Sun City was a resort destination for wealthy people in apartheid-laden South Africa, the country of South Africa in the continent of Africa. And there was huge racial divide in that country. And he created this group of artists that decided they weren't going to play the Sun City Resort. They weren't going to go to South Africa until something changed. And a bunch of artists participated, and by putting that song out there, he made the awareness, and eventually, within a few years, apartheid was broken. Nelson Mandela was released from jail, and I don't know the status of South Africa now, but I do know that they're not living under apartheid rule, which was really awful for their people. So shout out to Steven Van Zandt for making a change in the world.
Yeah, good for him. That's great. Good list.
Thank you.
Christian, what you got?
Oh, I suspect we have a lot of the same songs, but you know, when I'm thinking about where I was at that time, I was listening more to like crappy heavy metal, some good heavy metal, but some crappy heavy metal, and a lot of still just classic rock. So while I have a huge respect for Prince right now, at the time I did not like him. I really disliked him, as a matter of fact. But obviously, I've grown up and that's changed. He's just amazing. Um, so I had a bunch of songs. I was thinking about some of these songs you're not going to like. But Feel For You, Shaka Khan. I was like, oh my gosh, that was 1985. Wow, that's a great song, right? Voices Carried by Till Tuesday. Oh my God. Amy Mann. I had such a crush on Amy Mann. But then there were those weird songs like I was talking about earlier. One Night in Bangkok by Marie Head. It's a terrible song, but I get it in my head. It's such an earworm. I can't get it out.
Quirky. It's quirky.
Yeah.
No, I like that because it set a whole it was a journey. You were listening to that song and you felt like you were traveling with them. It was kind of cool.
And Rock Me Amadeus by Falco, sort of the same vein, like just a weird song. And you're like, I don't know why I like this song. It's terrible. And Tears for Fears were huge at the time. That was a great album. But then I think about the songs that I hated. We Built This City by Starship. I mean, that was overplayed and it was terrible and probably one of the worst songs that Starship ever. I don't know. I just can't even believe that.
There's another amazing band that transitioned to 85s themselves, or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, this was Jefferson Airplane. You're like, how do you become this?
Yeah, you went from this like edgy psychedelic rock band to like a complete corporate radio machine. It was awful. That was the #1 song I thought of as my most hated song from 1985. So I'm glad you put that on your list because it's on mine as well.
I don't know if they were trying to be ironic or if they were just getting paid. I don't know. I think of Grace. I'm like, oh, come on, you could do better. And then Hall Notes, Method of Modern Love. Do you remember that song? It's like they played the heck out of that. And that was like Hall Notes were, they had that yacht rock kind of vibe. But now you hear that song, you're like, ugh. And then David Lee Roth, California Girls. Again, think about the video, right? The video was iconic. You could picture him,
Sure.
And it was funny, but God, it was awful. He killed the song. Yeah, and so many overplayed songs. I Had Money for Nothing on there, Take on Me, and Careless Whisper, and pretty much by George Michael. Anything Madonna. Oh my gosh, you could not turn on the radio without hearing her within a song or two. It was crazy. And you'd see the girls all dressed up like Madonna with those jelly bracelets and the lace and whatever. And it's just, oh my gosh.
It's a good look. It's coming back.
I don't know. I think Britney Spears tried to bring it back, but it didn't work out. I don't know. It didn't stick. But again, it was an interesting time. I think back, we were talking a little bit earlier, Patty, how, we're close in age, but you were just a couple years older. And I was a sophomore in high school at that time where you were in college. And it's just the mindset is so much different in that short amount of time, the maturity level and what you're thinking about. I do wish, in retrospect, I was listening to college radio. So I'll leave it at that.
It's hard to know about that when you're in high school, unless someone.
Yeah, I didn't know
exposes you to
anybody.
it.
None of my friends listened to that. I had no idea it was even a thing.
Mhm.
So, you know, you grow and you learn. How
That's
about you,
it.
Rob? What do you got?
1985 was when I was making the transition from really poor taste in music to actually uncovering decent taste. And I wasn't there yet. But so I was listening to like Van Halen and Def Leppard, which was they were okay, right? But then I was making the transition. As I was hearing these new college radio sounds like U2 and kind of more popular ones. I kind of dug in a little deeper, and some of the stuff I found I put on my playlist. And so I took a very like college rock approach to, except for one song that the stuff I loved. The first song is "How Soon Is Now" by the Smiths, was
Uh,
released in 1985, right? And that's an extended song. It seems to go on forever with that tremolo guitar by Johnny Marr. It's just one of the most recognizable guitar songs I think ever,
for
and it
sure.
it is one of my all-time favorite songs. Every time it comes on, I'm in for the long haul. Like I'm listening to that whole, I don't know, was it 6 7 minutes? I'm in for the whole time. So that was the first song I thought of. The second was I had this tape on cassette, and I remember playing it over and over again because I'd never heard a voice quite like this. And that was REM, and it was Driver 8. That
Oh,
song from Fables of the Reconstruction came out in 1985, and I was obsessed with that album. I listened to it over and over again because I never heard a distinctive voice like his. I mean, so that's a song, and that was a staple for all the early college radios. Like they would play that song on
Yeah.
repeat. So I heard that
This
many times.
the soccer guys, and I remember the other band they were playing all the time was the Fine Young Cannibals.
oh,
"Johnny,
yeah,
I'm so sorry," that's
yeah,
that
yeah.
was huge
Yeah.
too at the time. Thanks for
Uh,
letting me sneak that in.
And then one of the more poppy ones I picked because I did, and it was that kind of synth pop era, was "Life in a Northern Town" by the Dream Academy.
I had them
Dream,
on my list.
oh, you did? Yeah,
Yes, yep,
that's a great song. I mean, it was certainly top 40, but it had that like atmospheric production. It made it seem like more of a journey than it was just a regular pop song. So I really
agreed.
love that, and I put that on my list as well.
It's a good tune.
And I had some other songs that I love, like um New Order came out with their album Low Life in 1985. Love Vigilantes is a great song that was on that album. The Cure released Head on the Door in 1985 with In Between Days on it. Like there's
Yeah,
just so much
I bet.
great music from that era that like I had trouble limiting my playlist to that many. And I did have Shout, because I do like Shout by Tears for Fears on there too. So those are my love songs. And then I get into the stuff I hated. And You Stole My Thunder, Christian. So We Built
I'm
the City
sorry.
by Starship was just like, I don't know what city they were building, but it wasn't one I wanted to live in. And I think Rolling Stone ranked that as one of the worst songs ever recorded at the
It's
time.
gotta
So
be.
we weren't alone in that opinion. I also had Wake Me Up Before You Go Go.
Ugh, wham.
I mean, and the short shorts in that video, that was like peak
Mm,
MTV, that sugar pop kind of crap that they used to love to play. But yeah, I couldn't stand that song. And then probably my most hated song from the era is "The Power of Love" by Huey Lewis and the News.
Mm.
Oh, that's on my love song.
I hated that song.
I
I
love Huey
like
Absolutely
Lewis.
hated it.
I
I
like
still
Huey
do
Lewis
when it comes up.
also.
It was on the soundtrack to Back to the Future, which was a great
Yes,
movie.
Mhm.
I love that, but I can't hear that song anymore. I'm all done with it. It's just
they certainly
terrible.
overplayed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so let me switch gears and do Overplayed, because I think there's one that you guys missed that came out in 1985, which was "Running Up That Hill" by Kate
Oh,
Bush.
Oh.
yeah, yeah.
Now, I love that song.
Oh,
My wife
yeah.
always hated her voice, so she could never stand it. But recently, it's made a whole big renewal with the new generation because of what's the name of the show that it's
Stranger
on?
Things.
Stranger Things. Yeah,
Yeah,
because so it was rediscovered by all of the new Gen Z kids for that, for because of Stranger Things. And so even though I love the song, and I thought it was kind of a hidden gem back in the day, now it's just like complete cultural saturation.
yeah.
So I had that on my list. And then And then I also had Take On Me by Aha, because I mean, I love the falsetto video and I love the animation in the video, but I mean, it was just constantly on the air in 1985. And then I also added Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds, because number one, it was on the Breakfast Club soundtrack, which I love. Breakfast Club, great movie, but I just can't ever hear that song without thinking about Breakfast Club now.
Oh, I see.
So like
Yeah.
it's a little too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
That's like I love the song by Steelers Wheels, "Stuck in the Middle with You," but I always think of Reservoir
I
Dogs
know,
now, like,
totally.
'cause too, that really tough scene with
Yes.
Michael
Yeah.
Madsen. Yikes.
Yeah. Oh, that was a
W
good list. And I was
yeah.
thinking, what about other artists like Phil Collins? You couldn't turn on the radio without hearing him. It was constant. And there were some
Yeah.
songs I liked and some songs I'm like, oh my God, I never need to hear that again.
Yeah, he
It's
came
just
out with
so,
his first solo album that year. The other
yeah.
album that came out that got some amount of airplay, and I really loved it then, and I love it now, is, Sade's album,
Yes. Yeah.
Promise. Yeah, so that's,
He's on my list.
mhm, mhm.
So 1985 gave us a little bit of everything. Gave us
Yeah.
some great songs, some like really overplayed songs, and then gave us like the birth of where alternative would be in the 90s, right? Like that all stemmed from college radio. So it was
So
a
true.
great year for music generally.
And plastic. Very plasticky. And spiked hair. None of us spiked our hair for this episode.
Oh,
Another missed
boo.
opportunity.
I didn't know we had to dress up for episodes now. That's going to be a
Oh.
whole thing. Oh my god, no problem.
So we're hoping to do more of these, what year, love, hate, and overplayed kind of things. So if you have a year that you'd like to suggest to us, that would be great. Um, and if you have some stuff that you would like to suggest that we put on our 1985 lists, let us know.
Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and remember the most important line: trust us, not the algorithm.
Bye now.